Today's part of our Business Spotlight program, I'm with Lindsey Buchet, who's CEO of the Trident Safety Group based in Cork. So over to you, Lindsey. What is it you do and for how long have you been doing it?
Hi, and thanks for inviting me to this podcast. I'm absolutely delighted to join it.
Great.
I have been dealing with dangerous goods for 26 years now.
Wow.
Now, in saying that, my background prior to that wasn't at all in dangerous goods. I actually lived in France for 11 years and I worked for a big chemical company in the marketing department.
Okay.
When I decided to come back to Ireland in the year 2001, with my children and husband at the time.
Right.
I got a job with Trident. Now, at the start, I was only working 3 days a week because obviously I had children and
Mhm.
commitments for children they were only young at the time.
Right.
And I joined Trident where they had just launched into dangerous goods training, which had come into the European Union and had been adopted by
Right.
Ireland at the time. So it was a burgeoning training um, portfolio, and I took that over. And with that, I had to organize, sell, and engage with trainers to come over from the UK because there was no trainers in Ireland at the time.
Right.
And we started running courses on what we call DGSA, or Dangerous Goods Safety Advisor.
Right.
So with that, I expanded my own knowledge, and I became a DGSA myself.
Right.
Um, I got more and more into the business. I sold more places. We used it really also as a marketing campaign as well as a teaching campaign because it would support our other products and services that we offered to the market.
Okay.
From that, they asked me to become a director in 2003,
Mhm.
which I gladly accepted. And from there, um, it just started to grow. And then it completely retracted as everybody did in 2008.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was not a great time for us. But with that, the mother of invention comes in,
Yep.
and I started to think outside the box and started to think of other areas that we could get into and other ways we could offer services and products and new ideas. So with that, we launched what we call a dangerous goods consultancy service, which meant that we would start consulting with firms that had a skills gap. So a lot of the time they have skills gap in their companies because somebody becomes very attractive when they've been trained in dangerous
They
goods.
get they get taken away.
They do, they get poached. So what we decided, we saw a gap there and we said, okay, well, what we can do is we can be your DG department until such time that you have engaged somebody else or that you've trained other staff because they do need to have their staff trained. But with that, they still kept us on
Right.
because we breathe, eat, and drink dangerous goods every single day, all
Right.
modes of transport. And in target markets as well, we'll get involved with the local statutory instruments of that country,
Hmm.
and we'll put some manners on it for our clients so that they understand what they're going to find when they get to that market. So just to finish off, in 2015, we went global. So I created a model called a dangerous goods team model, and we engaged a aircraft manufacturer in the States,
Hmm.
and basically they outsourced all their global dangerous goods returns to us.
Right.
So we had to really start on our feet. We really had to jump up because what I was creating didn't exist.
Right.
So it took me about 6 to 8 months to perfect it, and we started with 12 locations, and now we have 103.
Wow.
Um, with that, how we use it is we use partners. I decided there's no point trying to invest in all these different locations when
Hmm.
there are people in those locations who are as professional as we are and have the same qualifications. So we'll just partner. So that's what I did. I partnered and it became very successful. So 10 years later, we still get the 5-year contracts and it's just like a turnover, it just keeps going on and on and on. And with that, we were then asked to situate ourselves in America.
Right.
So we incorporated in America, and we have now 22 staff over there, and they basically they prioritize this particular client, but we've now added obviously other clients to our base over there. So it's kind of exciting. It's not boring because
Right.
obviously there are 9 classes of dangerous goods.
Right. Yeah.
And in those dangerous goods, then there are subdivisions as well. So you're dealing with everything from perfume to batteries to radioactives to explosives.
Oh, right.
So you have to know your stuff. We have to know everything about them. So I don't know if you can see these books here.
I could
These are
just see the core. I could see one half of them anyway. Yeah.
there you go. They're my Bible. They're my
Okay.
Bibles. That's only half of them. There's another 4 books that
Wow.
are on the other side. So they're my Bible, and we go to those every single day. Every single
Fantastic.
day. So
And
that brings us up to now. I became CEO in January of this year,
right.
um, and we're into big expansion now.
Fantastic. Fantastic. I mean, you've covered a lot of it there, but
Yeah.
what do you attribute the growth to? You know, you've been expanding like in leaps and bounds by the sound of it. I mean, what do you attribute it to? I think you've covered it, but let's see what you say.
I think we don't say no.
Okay.
If it's about dangerous goods, we don't say no because we know that we will know more than the person who's asking us.
Right.
And if it's feasible, we'll make it feasible. So we're really solution providers. We'll go away, we'll go get into a room, a session, and we'll come back normally with something for them. And a lot of the time it's the solution that they're looking for.
Great. Okay. That's so very much focused on the clients and what they need and helping them to get what they need, and that in turn gives you the growth that you're talking about. Yeah.
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
Okay. If you had to start from square one in business, what would you do differently?
Stop listening to people.
Okay. Right. That's got
Um,
enough.
a lot of people that you kind of thrash out ideas with, or you've got your own kind of gut instinct.
Right.
I think listening to your instinct is a good idea
Okay.
because especially if you know your stuff, and my problem is that people will, naysay, and you do at the start you pay an awful lot of attention to that, because you're not confident in your own
Hmm.
abilities a lot of
Hmm.
the time. Especially myself. I mean, I came from, we couldn't afford to go to college, so I didn't go to college.
Right.
So I'm the school of life person.
Right.
So you're more, I suppose, wary of your own abilities.
Okay.
And how I combat that is I decided that about 10 years ago that I wouldn't listen to anybody again. And
Well,
I
I like
instinct.
I like the saying around it, you know, people that say it can't be done don't get in the way of the people that are doing it.
Exactly, exactly. I mean, most things can be done. Just put your mind to it and put yourself. The biggest thing is you have to put yourself in their position.
Exactly right. Yeah, and it's because I often ask people what business owners, and I didn't know the answer when I was asked the question 21 years ago when I started this, but what are you selling? And it's a deceptively difficult question to answer now without going into a whole coaching session. And so it's very much what are your clients buying? And even though you're doing the same sort of procedures and safety training, etc., you may be selling different things to different people, depending on what it is they want. And the more that you focus on what your clients want and need, and as that changes, as you mentioned through the changes there being global recession, we've had pandemics,
Yeah,
wars. an interesting change of administration in the US. And all that requires, being in touch with your customers and knowing exactly what they want because their needs and wants will change. So from what I can hear from,
Or they don't know their needs.
well, there's that
Our
too.
biggest one is that they don't know what they want. They don't know what they need.
Interesting.
So,
And so you help them to see that, yeah.
yeah, I always say to them, the customer is, in my experience, is seldom right.
Okay. You got
In
some
my
great
business,
things.
anyway.
Yeah, you got some great things, Lindsay. I love it. Okay. Again, you've covered a good bit of it there, but what have been your biggest learnings as an employer since you began in business? I mean, how many people are you working with? I mean, there's partners and there's direct employees and stuff. Yeah.
My direct employees here, we have 14 direct employees, and then in the States we have, I think it's 21 last count.
Okay.
Um, sorry, I just reflect on that again. The question was,
Well, yeah. What are your biggest learnings as an employer since you began in business? Yeah.
I think the biggest one is to listen.
Okay.
A lot of the time people in business who head a business or a director of business, you've got all this other noise behind you. You've got the day-to-day running, which a lot of the time when you become a CEO, you do have somebody to hand that over to.
Hmm.
But some people do forget to listen.
Okay.
It's like when you go into sales. If you go into sales, you don't go in and bombard the client with a lot of verbiage. You sit back and you find out what they want, what they need, and how you can respond to that. Well, I think I treat the employees here, they're not really employees, they're a team. They're all professionals, they're all of my, qualification, and they work better if you treat them as a team,
Absolutely. I'd
and
agree
you
more.
listen.
Yeah.
Yeah, you listen to them, and you're open to their ideas. I think is very important, and that you don't turn around and take their idea as your idea either. You promote them,
Yeah.
um, and
You
I
praise
think
where it's
promotion
due.
in the
Yeah.
company
Yeah.
is not just title promotions. I think promoting your team's qualities and skills is far more important, to be quite honest. And you get a lot more back from it, and people become very productive.
Fantastic. Yeah. I
Yeah,
mean, yeah, if you have a team, a positive culture that everybody buys into, when we actually measure it, you can find people are up to 3 times more productive than if they're just punching a clock and you have the man
totally.
management staff divide sort of thing. Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree
Yeah,
more.
yeah.
Um, the other one then is, I know with all the different people I've interviewed, find this one interesting is how do you balance your personal life with the demands of running a business?
I'm going to use a cliche now again. Love the puns. Anyway, I work to live. I don't live to work.
Okay, great.
Yeah, I clock off at 5.
Great.
I absolutely clock off at 5. I've got 3 daughters, 2 dogs,
Nice.
uh, a husband, and a busy social life. I have, friends that I've been friends for many, many years, and I like to take the time with them because I enjoy it. I enjoy it. I love gardening. I particularly like gardening, and I know it sounds very, oh, you must be that age, but we what we decided to do as a company is to offset our carbon footprint. We bought some land and we're rewilding the land, and
That's
we've called it Thimble Farm because it's only a small little place.
yeah.
And we've got a master beekeeper there who is also a periculturist. So he's rewilding, beekeeping, orchard growing, what we call fedging,
What's that?
making hedges out of willow.
Okay, okay.
You're not putting up plastic or rock well, you can put up rock, but you're not chopping down trees to make fences. They're living tree
Okay.
hedges. And we offer then the employees here, they can go up and have a well-being day. Because do you know what? There's nothing like getting your back into digging or fetching. Fetching is wonderful. You
Right,
know,
okay. Okay.
yeah. So we decided to do that, and we then share whatever the produce we share it with our employees,
All right,
basically.
okay.
So harvest time is always very popular here.
Right, right. Fantastic. Yeah. I know as a kid, we had 5 beehives in the garden
Yeah,
beside the play. Well, we had a lot of animals. I mean, we had dogs, cats, ferrets even. Uh,
yeah,
and we had the 5 beehives as well, which was my youngest brother had the teacher was brother, and he was being told to get rid of the beehives, and he came back and told my father. Father said, "Yeah, we'll take them." So
yeah.
we
There you
had them
go.
in there. We learned a lot about bees over the following years. They're quite delicate creatures in some ways, you know.
Oh, they're amazing. They're absolutely amazing. And I mean, I would have been the person who's got, no, not bees.
Yeah.
But to be honest, well, if you've a quiet hive, they're great. They just kind of, you open up and they kind of peep up looking at you. They're brilliant. But, and we get pure honey then from them. And the
Exactly. Yeah.
philosophy of our beekeeper is that he feeds his bees their own honey.
Right.
So when they overwinter, they have honey.
Oh, right. Not just
Their own
sugar and
honey.
water. Yeah.
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 Well, you have to sometimes put sugar water in, but he tries as much as possible to let them
Be,
get their
be,
own honey.
yeah, be natural, have their own honey. Yeah.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
absolutely.
Okay, well done. And being able to clock off at 5, maybe just for the benefit of some of our viewers, what allows you to do that, do you think? I mean, obviously deciding is the first big thing, and then what allows you to do that? To say, yeah, I'm gone at 5, that's it. Because you're a global business at this
Yeah.
stage.
Well, we have the follow the sun um, process. So as soon as I clock off, the VP in the States clocks on.
Okay.
Yeah. The general manager that we have here is wonderful. He's amazing, absolutely amazing. And even though he does clock off at 5 as well, we have a process here where, we don't have this numbers game
Hmm.
at all. And we've told all our clients that this is how we work. And, unless it's an emergency, don't contact us after 5.
Okay.
Really, that's kind of it, which kind
Yeah.
of, allows people to organize their lives without having to, oh, I didn't come up with the numbers this week. And I'm not a numbers person anyway. I'm just
Right.
totally against pushing people for numbers.
Interesting. Okay. Um, and again, you've covered a bit of this as well, but what are the qualities do you look for in employees, and how do you? And I think again you've covered it, but how do you foster a positive and productive work environment?
Okay, first thing I look for in an employee is normally initiative.
Okay.
That's the first thing I look for. Secondly, and nearly as importantly, is I look for positive personality traits. An easy person, to get along with. I suppose attitude is everything in this business anyway.
Yeah.
You have to have the right attitude in order to deal with dangerous goods because the responsibility is so huge
Right.
and we're extraordinarily risk averse. All my clients will be delighted to hear that.
Yeah.
And it is that kind of responsibility that you put on people. You really have to support them in a way that's not like a boss telling you what to do, is what I don't do anyway. And so what I look for is somebody who is friendly. You need friendly people,
Hmm.
and also can kind of think outside the box, I suppose, is another way as well.
Hmm.
Can take pressure because it can be pressurized, especially if there's an aircraft stuck with a tech problem and we
Hmm.
have to respond to it in Hong Kong, well
Hmm.
then that can become quite pressurized. Also, what I look for in people is I look for ability to learn
Yeah.
because they don't need to come in here with skills
Hmm.
because we teach the skills because
Good.
nobody comes in here with the skill, to be quite honest. And
Okay.
if they do come in with the skill, we hadn't trained them, so we'll have to retrain them anyway.
Right. Okay.
Yeah. So they can come in without having the skill, but I will look for aptitude in a learning environment and also reasoning. They have to be a bit logical.
Okay. Okay. Logical as well. Okay. Yeah, I suppose it's the old saying, hire for attitude and train for skills. Yeah.
That's it. That's absolutely it.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Um, and I suppose just to round off, Lindsay, what are some common misconceptions about running a business and how do you address them?
Um, I think one of them is the ivory tower syndrome.
Okay.
I think a lot of people think that the CEO is somewhere up in an ivory tower and never
Mm.
ever sees the staff. I'm very much averse to that anyway, and I'm not that type of person. I'm a hands-on person because I've done all the work, all the employees I have here, I've done all their jobs, except for cleaning the toilets. Okay, I didn't clean the toilets. That's the
Okay.
only one I didn't do.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
I think to remain, to come, not, this thing of coming down to somebody's level, you're all on one level. And that's how I approach it, and for the well-being of the staff as well. And again, listen to your employees, listen to the people who are around you. You've picked them for a reason.
Right.
They've said yes. It's not indentured slavery. They've said yes as long as you pay them, but
Yeah.
they also want to be listened to. So I think that's a huge area that is a misconception in business, that the employer does not listen
Mhm.
enough.
Fantastic. Lindsay, there's a wealth of stuff in there for our listeners. It's been absolutely fabulous talking to you. I really
No
appreciate
problem.
you taking the time, and we're finished well before 5, so that's good as well. So,
Great, great,
uh,
fantastic.
fantastic. Okay, thank you, Lindsay.
Thank you very much.